Welcome to In His Defense, the series focusing on games remembered for a kicker missing a game-winning field goal, a quarterback throwing a game-ending interception, or a receiver dropping a winning touchdown, and much more. In this series, I'll advocate for the player and discuss missed opportunities that led up to the situation in question. Today's video, Scott Norwood and wide right at Super Bowl 25. Buffalo is heading in red hot with the number one scoring offense, putting up an absurd 96 points in their 2 games leading up to the Super Bowl. Paired with the 6th-ranked scoring defense, Buffalo is a complete team. However, so are their NFC counterparts. Despite having a middle-of-the-pack scoring offense, the New York Giants had among the league's fewest turnovers. They are an outstanding defensive unit, surrendering a mere 13 points a game, good for fewest points allowed as well as second in total yards allowed. New York came in equally as hot, outscoring Chicago and San Francisco 46-16, thus ending any shot the 49ers had of becoming the first team to three-peat as Lombardi winners. Mark Ingram with a nice conversion on 3rd and 7, and then Buffalo held strong to only allow a Giants field goal from Matt Barr. Jim Kelly catches the Giants defense sleeping as he hits James Lofton with a 60-plus yarder in what would be the longest play of the game. Buffalo would come up short on the next play, however, as Thurman Thomas and Everson Walls on defense basically volleyball the football, and neither sides end up with the ball. So after that big play from Lofton, Buffalo would have to settle for a 23-yard Norwood field goal. Halfway through the first quarter, tie ball game, 3-3. Luckily for Buffalo, New York couldn't get anything going on their next series. Reed going out of bounds to avoid the hit. Thomas running with power, and he even knocks down his own teammate, James Lofton, who is blocking a defender. He lowers the shoulder but is knocked down by Myron Guyton after a nice gain. Reed eludes a Giants defender for his 6th reception of the game. He would only have 2 more as the defense would keep him in check, and Don Smith with the touchdown. Leon Seals, the left end, just levels Hostetler in what was one of the biggest hits of the game. Hostetler would get to his feet, albeit slowly. I don't know if nowadays he would have remained in the game, even being administered the infamous smelling salts at one time. Thomas again with another first down on the ground with what looks to be about a 15-yard run. Guyton ensures that Reed does not come down with the ball. Pro Bowler Eric Howard, the nose tackle, gives up 5 yards to Buffalo in the way of an offside. Reed with another drop on 3rd and 1. Hostetler sacked in the end zone after getting tripped up by his teammate, running back O.J. Otis Anderson. New York gives up the 2 points on the safety, but Hostetler alert enough to hold on to the ball here to not give up a touchdown. Reed has another reception hit him in the hands that would ultimately fall to the turf. A little grab from safety Greg Jackson was enough to halt Kelly's pass to tight end McKellar. Kelly is off target and overthrows Keith McKellar, 3 and out after the safety. Giants ball. New York also went 0 for 3 on their ensuing drive. It's challenging for the 6th-ranked rush defense to stop the NFL's 2nd leading rusher. Thurman eludes a couple of Giants defenders for a 10-yard gain. Thomas is ultimately brought down after a gain of 8 for his 4th consecutive touch. Thomas is telling us at home that the refs missed a face mask call. It worked to perfection in the first quarter, the long bomb to Lofton, but not this time. New York had it telegraphed. After shooting themselves in the foot with a false start, Reed comes up short. Otis Anderson just plowing through the Bills' defense for 18. Mark Ingram hauling in an awesome catch. If only Nate Odoms was an inch taller than 5'9". Dave Mackett runs for 17. Anderson's not getting all the glory in the New York backfield. Howard Cross snags in the catch for 7 yards. New York inside the 15. Stephen Baker, the touchdown maker, is true to his moniker, hauling in the biggest touchdown of his career, a 14-yard catch. With 20 seconds and 3 timeouts, Buffalo decides to take it in at half. Maggot getting more work in the second half here with 2 nice plays in a row. He had already helped the NFC champs get out of 2 long yardage situations in a row. Anderson gets a nice shot on Kelso as Cornelius Bennett takes him down after a 24-yard run. Elusive doesn't even begin to describe Mark Ingram on this play. New York converts its 4th third down of the drive as Howard Cross gets a 9-yard catch. Otis Anderson caps off the second longest drive in Super Bowl history. Thomas yet again with another nice run, but this time it's Kelly taking off for 5, but Jackson's sure to get that hit in at the end. Jackson doesn't get called for the holding here, but McKellar does away from the play, getting called with an offensive pass interference. Buffalo went nowhere fast with an incomplete and then a sack on third down, going from the Giants' 45 all the way back to their own 38. The Giants starting off with yet another first down on their drive. Cross again for 10. Nate Odoms, the corner, is called here for the holding. Looks like he does enough to prevent Stephen Baker from the catch. Hostetler runs out of the pocket, and this actually results in a sack as he lost a yard on the play. Setting up New York for another 3rd and long. But this time they're not able to convert as Ingram only gets 9 of the 11 yards he needed, just shy of the first down. New York goes for it in Buffalo territory, but is ultimately stopped as Anderson loses a yard. The Bills not wasting any time as they almost get a first down with a gain of 9 on a screen pass to Thomas. Buffalo again with another screen pass, this time to Kenneth Davis, and he's lucky here to fumble the ball out of bounds with 19 yards. They take the lead here with this Thomas touchdown and a nice block from Andre Reed to free him. Good for 31 yards and a Buffalo lead of 19-17. After uncharacteristically starting the drive off a little rough, the Giants get the first down with a gain of 17 to Bavaro. And after a short run from Anderson, Hostetler goes back to him for another 19 yards. Ingram with another great reception for 13, but he could have had a little more if he decided to pitch it here to the fullback maybe. They allow Anderson to pick up 4 here. Bavaro bounces off linebacker Shane Conlon, but is wrapped up by safety Leonard Smith. The speedster, Meggett, picks up the 3rd down. He needed 5 and he got 6 on the play. The tackle, Jeff Wright, was almost in the backfield before the handoff. He had it scoped out for a loss of 4 on the play. They only needed 3 for the touchdown, but under pressure, the pass is incomplete as Bennett knocks it down. He thinks he should have had it. Barr kicks a 21-yard field goal to take a 20-19 lead for the Giants. Aside from a nice reception for Thomas, the Bills failed to do anything on their next drive. Anderson closes out his work in Super Bowl 25, picking up his last first down. Meggett is not as fortunate, however. Bavaro's last reception for the Giants is good for 7, as he would not play for them next year, dealing with a knee injury. There you see it. The Giants have the record for time of possession. Still, Kelly eludes a couple of Giants defenders for a gain of 8. Eric Howard wraps up Kelly for just a gain of 1 on the ground here. Thurman Thomas is running wild for a gain of 22, and he could have had much more, but he's finally stopped by Everson Walls. Andre Reed with his first reception since halfway through the second quarter. Kelly again making something happen on the ground. He's picking up 9 on this play after it looked like he was going to get sacked. McKellar on this one has a great catch, probably one of the closer ones you'll ever see. You'd like to see him get more on the play, though. It ended up being good for 6. Thomas gets him a little closer here with another 11 yards up the middle. Levy calling upon Scott Norwood to try and kick a potential game-winning 47-yard field goal. A tall order for the 1988 Pro Bowler, aiming to become just the second man after Baltimore kicker Jim O'Brien in Super Bowl V to kick the game-winning field goal in the Super Bowl. The 1988 Pro Bowler, who led the league in made field goals, also led the league in made PATs in 1990, this past season. Despite that, he and Rams kicker Mike Langsford missed the second most field goals at 9 apiece. Cardinals and later Titans kicker Al Del Greco had the most with 10 misses.
good.
Players on both sidelines thought the kick looked like it might be good. And on the opposing side, future Super Bowl MVP Otis Anderson thought that it wasn't a bad miss. He might have missed it by maybe a yard or two, if that. Defensive coordinator Bill Belichick devised a game plan, which now resides in Canton, to allow running back Thurman Thomas to rush for at least 100 yards. His reasoning behind this was they were going to allow short gains, but punish the receivers in the process. They were going to make them earn every yard through the air, and that's exactly what they did. Bills head coach Marv Levy would recall after the game. He sat next to Scott Norwood, but before he could get any words out, linebacker Darryl Talley and corner Nate Odoms were sitting next to Scott Norwood and told him, "The game should have never came down to that. We gave up some stupid plays. I mean, we missed tackles in that game that we usually don't miss. The game should have never came down to that play." Cornelius Bennett thought that was the crucial point in the game, this play being the 3rd and 13 conversion by Mark Ingram. Andre Reed came over, saying if he hadn't dropped a few key passes in the second quarter, the Bills could have maybe put the Giants away for good. The potent number 1 scoring offense didn't convert a 3rd down until there was 2 minutes left in the game. You're not going to be able to win a Super Bowl if you only convert 1 3rd down all game, unless you're the 2015 Broncos, but that was a case of an elite defense, and they were ahead most of the game. Buffalo would allow almost as many 3rd down conversions on this drive as they would in the whole game. They would go 9 for 16 on the day on 3rd down conversions. You could say there was clock mismanagement at times, as the Bills went in at half with 3 timeouts in their pocket. Buffalo would allow 20 seconds to tick off the clock before Kelly spiked the ball before Norwood's field goal attempt. This would leave no timeouts and 8 seconds for the field goal attempt. All-Pro linebacker Carl Banks would later say, "I have no problem saying it. They may have been the best team to never win a Super Bowl. They were on par with the 49ers. Bills linebacker Cornelius Bennett said just a few years ago, 30 years later, I can truly say I've never heard, and we wouldn't allow, a former teammate to blame it on Scott Norwood. Although Norwood would kick his longest field goals of his career, as he would connect on a 50 and a 52-yard field goal, respectively, and he would return with his Bills the next year in the Super Bowl, unfortunately and perhaps sadly, he would never achieve a shot at redemption, as he would retire after Super Bowl 26.